8 Most Common Food Intolerances You May Not Know You Have.
Approximately 1 in 5 adults report having a food intolerance, but because they are so difficult to detect, the true figure may be much higher. Unlike food allergies, intolerances are not life-threatening, but they can make life miserable for sufferers, particularly if they go undetected. Signs that you may be suffering a food intolerance include bloating, digestive discomfort, irritable bowel, migraines or headaches, fatigue, skin rashes or hives, a cough, a stuffy or runny nose, a general feeling of unwellness without an apparent cause. Causes. Although the causes of food intolerance aren't fully understood or agreed upon within the medical community, it's possible they stem from the absence of digestive enzymes, or sensitivities to natural or synthetic chemicals and compounds within the food, such as histamine and salicylates. 8 Most Common Food Intolerances. Although everyone is different, and it's possible to be sensitive to almost any food, some foods are far more likely to cause an unpleasant reaction than others. The following are the most common sources of food sensitivity. 1. Lactose. Lactose intolerance is characterized by the inability to digest the sugar in dairy, known as lactose. Up to 50 million Americans and approximately 65% of people worldwide are lactose intolerant, making it one of the most common food sensitivities around. Normally, our bodies produce the enzyme lactase to break down lactose. However, some people experience a decline in lactase production. This happens naturally as we age, but it can also occur due to illness, injury or intestinal surgery. Ethnicity also plays a role in lactose intolerance, with those of African, Asian, Hispanic, and American Indian descent more likely to experience sensitivity to dairy. Symptoms can appear between 30 minutes and several hours after dairy consumption, and include bloating, gas, stomach gurgling, pain or cramps, diarrhea, or vomiting. Many people with lactose intolerance can consume limited quantities of dairy, particularly if it is fermented, or if it is organic. Goat milk can also be tolerated well by some sufferers. 2. Gluten. Those who are gluten sensitive, approximately 18 million Americans, cannot tolerate gluten, the protein found in wheat, rye, and barley. Unlike those with celiac disease, gluten does not damage the intestinal lining of those with a gluten intolerance, although it can cause significant gastrointestinal distress, among other symptoms. Because gluten is so widespread, it can be difficult to avoid. It's found in baked goods, cereals, processed meat and fish, spreads, canned foods, sauces and condiments, alcohol, many sweet treats, and even prescribed and over-the-counter drugs, along with certain vitamin supplements. A myriad of gluten-free alternatives are available, but these should be used sparingly, as they contain several additives, are often high in calories, and can upset blood sugar balance. 3. Alcohol. Experiencing allergy-like symptoms after alcohol consumption is pretty common. It can happen in reaction to a particular type of alcohol, or to several. The intolerance can be to alcohol itself, or to the ingredients within the drink. For example, those with gluten intolerance may be unable to drink beer without adverse reactions. Other chemicals and ingredients in these drinks which may cause issues include histamine, yeast, flavorings, and other additives. 4. Eggs. A common sensitivity, egg intolerance or allergy affects nearly 1.5% of children. In most cases, the intolerance will disappear as they age. Interestingly, most people that suffer from the intolerance cannot handle the egg white, while they may have no issues with the yolk. Intolerance to egg yolk is much rarer, but is still possible. Those with an egg intolerance should also be aware that most chickens are fed a soy-based diet, so you may be sensitive to soy, rather than eggs. Choosing eggs from grass-fed, free-range and organic animals will help you determine the true nature of your sensitivity. 5. Soy. With soy and its derivatives found in 75% of products on supermarket shelves, and in almost 100% of fast food, it's not surprising it's one of the top causes of food sensitivities. Soy can cause gastrointestinal irritation in those who are sensitive, such as gas, bloating, vomiting, nausea, and heartburn. However, it can also cause irritability or depressed mood, along with headaches. Infants who are soy intolerant can experience reflux caused by soy-based formula or foods. 6. Corn. Similar to soy and gluten, corn is in everything from medications to makeup, increasing its risk of causing symptoms of intolerance. Corn's proteins can irritate the gastrointestinal tract of people who are also intolerant to gluten and other grains, so if your symptoms haven't abated after cutting out wheat and/or all gluten, consider ditching corn for a while too. 7. Yeast. Yeast can be a surprising cause of food sensitivity, with some experts even believing that yeast, rather than wheat, may be the culprit for the plethora of symptoms many suffer after indulging in a pizza or bowl of pasta. Yeast intolerance can cause a wide variety of symptoms, including yeast infections, joint pain, and fatigue after eating a product containing yeast. 8. Chemicals, pesticides and additives in foods. Because much of the food we consume today has been treated with pesticides and other chemicals, or is loaded with artificial flavorings, colorings, and sweeteners, it's difficult to pinpoint the source of intolerance. Some people who seemingly have lactose or gluten intolerance can handle organic products, leading many to suspect it's the chemical additives, rather than the food itself, that are the problem. The only way to know for sure is to keep a food diary and note what causes your symptoms. If consuming homegrown or organic versions of the products cause you no ill effects, it may well be a chemical sensitivity, rather than a food intolerance, you are suffering.